Hello, and welcome to another Maz and Satcast. This is episode 12. He is covered in tie-dye tonight, and I'm
Always.
just wearing a white tee.
The white tee. The clean white tee.
It is clean, fresh.
That's it's good. Good enough, bro. Good enough.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm rocking the Joey Mars, JoeyMars.com, Cam Provincetown. Died by Fulio.
Julio. So, before we get into this episode, I was told of a new endeavor that you are going to be debuting this week soon.
This
Why don't
week
you go
soon.
ahead and get into that?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we recorded the first episode, and basically I'm going to be doing a couple different things on my Sack Streams channel. And this is one of the things I'm going to do. I'm starting with family members, but I'm doing a 20 questions format. And they're not like some of them are basic questions, but I'm very creative at like finding ways to get things I don't know how to put it, like double meaning type shit where you're going to answer how you interpret the question, even though anyway, point being, that's going to be part of it. Another really weird part that I think is weird, but it's like something that I came up with, is like, I like the writing letters to people that I would never send an actual letter to, just talking about like what influence they had or why I take something with me, but I would never send it and shit like that. And it's just a weird way to talk about myself, which, at this point in our existence, I don't know. I'm not gonna I don't really even feel like I'm talking about myself. So it's just an interesting thing. And then I'm going to be interviewing a lot of other people, like asking, like in the 20 questions format. You're going to be doing it. You don't have a choice. But yeah, so, and the first episode hopefully will be out Tuesday. That's my plan. I got to edit it after we're done tonight. I got to finish editing it up, or start editing it. Editing. Hey,
There you go.
but yeah, dude, thanks for asking. I don't know, man. It's a good time. It's not going to be as awesome as Mike Rips, though.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, I am so consistent in uploading. I didn't upload probably for 28 days,
Yeah.
strings, but
Yeah,
then
yeah,
last
yeah.
week I uploaded 10 videos, 14 videos.
Yeah.
I'm still just living off of my Oreo video that has almost 4,000 views at this time.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's
which is
amazing.
Crazy.
No, the instant reacts to WrestleMania got pretty well viewed. I liked that. That was a good time.
Yeah, I think next week I'm gonna watch the AEW so I can do that.
Oh geez. Now you're just asking for trouble, because you're gonna be wading in the pools of virgins and you're gonna get, fucking wah, wah. So have fun with that. Although I know that's what you enjoy. I know that you have a good time, especially if you get a chance to take a shot at Uncle Dave.
Yeah, and those two little fucking bucks. I like to take shots at them.
Dude, you know what's really funny? When we did our State of Wrestling show, I didn't want to be super unfair to them. I've always had a low opinion of them. I think I made it clear in that show, but I didn't try and be mean or anything. But with this last stunt with the video and everything, and even Omega basically saying yeah, no, it's fine. We have no problem. It's just, they're done. The whole, either they have to go or AEW fumbles completely, and they're just over. So, it's like WCW all over again, except they never reached the place where they were legitimately competing. They never got to that level.
Yeah, and for their careers, they're 3 count right now.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. And it's almost like they're trying to bury themselves. It's kind of fucking sad, but
Yeah, they just have no business acumen. But you know what? We'll get to that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll be back on that.
Yeah, unfortunately. So tonight, this probably the best week in sports. You have the NCAA championships wrapping up the basketball tournaments. You have the Masters. We had UFC 300, and we have the end of the NBA season and the NHL season, all leading into the NFL draft, which will be covered next week. We'll have Coach back on.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah,
dude, and we're only a week removed from WrestleMania. I don't know if you remember, but WrestleMania 40 just happened. I don't know how you felt at the beginning of this week, but it's wiped.
I still haven't slept, man.
Little wiped. The energy was a little bit different for those first couple days. But yeah, like, and there's a lot. There is a fucking lot going on, and everything seems so huge. Like I was just kind of shocked by how, like things just kind of lined up weird where you get WrestleMania 40, which the whole joke of it being the biggest WrestleMania ever. I mean, in the end, we kind of look at it as their next, like, it'll probably be their biggest. It'll probably be the best for a while. Like it'll hold it, like it set a standard, right? And then, yeah, you walk right into, UFC 300 this weekend. And I didn't even remember, like I had forgotten what a big deal it was because WrestleMania kicked my ass, Yeah. And then, yeah, the Masters, and I know the Masters happens every year. It wasn't a particularly huge Masters, but like if you have any sports athlete in golf specifically, like the Masters is so hard. That course is so fucking hard. And so it's always a great tournament. The ending of, so when does the NHL season end? Just so we can get that out of the way.
There's two games.
There's only
basically left.
Okay. Yeah, I know we're going to cover all that. Basketball, nobody cares.
Nobody.
And if anybody that listens to this cares, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. After you watch basketball, you can go watch the Virgin show on AEW next week.
Fucking A. That's the perfect anti-person for this show at this point, is an AEW mark who loves the NBA. Like,
every night. I get done working every night around midnight, and every night there's NBA on the TVs, the guys that are on like light duty. And every night I'm like, what the fuck are you watching? You're just wasting your time.
Dude, it's the beginning of baseball season. And I'm gonna say this, man. As much as all this stuff is really cool, there was a couple moments this weekend where all I could think about was, dude, it's fucking baseball season. Like, I mean, even last night, I was like watching the Cubs game on my phone, like on the side, I'm like, I started watching the UFC when the prelims started, like at 5:00, like I was on, like, and I didn't miss a moment, but definitely on my phone, I had my iPad or my phone fucking running the Cubs game because like every game seems to be important. It's a weird thing when you have a team that is like looking like they're going to compete for the long haul. You want to see every moment of them compete. But yeah, and I know you're doing the same thing. I know you're doing the same thing with the Pirates for some reason, but
well, so like I used to watch baseball every day. That was my life. I would get home from work. If I missed the game, if it was a day game, I would watch it on the DVR. Like that was it. And the Pirates are currently 11-5, and I've probably watched 10 of those games, and that's probably more baseball than I've watched in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
it's wild. I'm really locked in.
It's great when you get locked in on baseball. You get locked in. Like you get locked in. Cubs got another win today in Seattle, by the way.
I saw the last out was Julio getting picked off at first base after he came in as a pinch runner.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, but Julio Rodriguez is not like he's legit. Like he's gonna, he's still pretty green, but he's legit. He's a scary fucking dude. Anyway, yeah. So it took me a minute to really like remember. Yesterday, even it was like, holy fuck, like it's UFC 300, and I know we talked about with WrestleMania, like in us and our age, like we've been alive for every WrestleMania, but UFC is even a little bit different because like I've watched in one format or another. I've watched since UFC 1. Like I was getting videotapes from the store when they would come and be on like the dollar racks back in the day for like the sports stuff, and I have so many stories. Like there's such a story arc of my life that goes along with UFC's growth. It's just, it's kind of interesting. And they put on a hell of a show last night. They put on a hell of a show. And I think we have some things to talk about as far as like what possible directives might have been that, may or may not be damaging to the sport long term. I guess we'll see. But overall, like it showed that they are, 100 to 200 to 300, just the support for what's going on. Like they had people from like every nationality you can fucking think of on that card. Like just, it is global, no matter what anybody wants. It is the definition of a global sport at this point as the UFC, not as just fighting in general, but as the UFC, it is a global thing. And it's fucking great to see.
Okay. So I have one thing.
Yeah.
Before we even get into it.
Okay.
So you said that you started watching it at 5:00.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 6:00 my time.
Mm-hmm.
And the show was over around 1:30.
Yeah.
That show did not come close to feeling that long compared to WrestleMania Night 1, which felt like it was 84 years.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I will definitely, like, I feel like it lost its momentum when it was always going to lose its momentum, because I'm not taking anything away, but two Chinese women as like a co-main event in a crowd like Vegas that was probably half expecting Donald Trump to walk out at some point, like it's just, I don't know, like the crowd calmed down after the BMF championship, which of course they were going to, again, just like what we talked about with WrestleMania. Yeah. And not to mention, like, okay, so most pay-per-views, the crowd doesn't start filing in until like the headliner of the undercard, right? But like the crowd was 75% full for the very first match of the night. So there were some tired, drunk, just worn out people in that crowd by the time they got to the last two fights. But yeah, I agree. So we're not going to go through the whole card because we're not going to do that. But just some of the, yeah, you really want to?
Well, so this is the thing about this show.
Okay.
Normally, I watch probably every pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I normally catch it maybe the second or third last match of the prelims.
Mm-hmm.
If there's somebody that I'm interested in. The last one, Macy Barber was on, and we were recording, so I didn't watch it. But that's kind of my vantage point of starting to watch a show there.
Okay.
Here, every show was a pay-per-view fight. Every match on this card was a pay-per-view fight. Like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
from the start, from the start, and
like,
by the time they got halfway through the prelims, it's like, okay, well, we're like, these are all Fight Night Live like main events at the least, right? Like,
that's what I was going to say. Like, even the Cody Figueiredo fight, the opening fight of the show, and
it could have been a 5-round fight all day,
right?
Like that's
Thank
the thing.
God.
Like those two could have put on a 5-round fight, and they probably should have. The only fight that was that, in my opinion, was done right to be a 3-round fight was with Bo Nickel, and that's just because he's so green still, and he was so upset. Okay, I love this dude. Like I've been sitting on the couch watching him win NCAA championships, and I know I said that multiple times, but I like that's something that I watch college wrestling every year around that time. I watch the Wisconsin team locally. I've gone to their barn to watch them wrestle. Yeah, I have, because Penn State and Iowa come here, so I'm only like 20 minutes away. And tickets are cheap. Like I can go watch, Penn State and Iowa, and Ohio State, those schools. Like I can watch them wrestle. So, and I have, and like he was so impressive, and he's so humble, and he's just kind of awkward, in a very me kind of way. Like he's just got that. Like he's so generous, and he's just like, I'm really sorry. Like I'll be better. You guys are gonna love me. Like just wait. And it's like I believe him. I'm like, I already love him, but I'm sure everybody else will too soon enough. But that was definitely a 3-round fight. That was appropriately a 3-round fight.
Yeah, everybody else was pretty advanced in their careers.
Yes.
This is
yes.
what his 6th fight.
Yeah, every one of those could have been qualified for a 5-round fight, because they were all kind of eliminators. I mean, it was a good card, dude, and some of the fights were just disgustingly good. Do you want to skip right to the part about the refs though? Because like I feel like there was a pretty clear directive by the refs to not end fights. To let them go until they couldn't, because the only the knockouts were knockouts, and Jim Miller, I can't wait to see the first picture of Jim Miller after he's done with surgery and everything he's gonna need, because that dude's face, they let him walk through a building basically. He just. And I don't know that he was the worst.
No, Jim Miller did bleed more than Moxley on a pay-per-view though. So
fucking A,
that was something. The first fight was Davison Figueiredo versus Cody No Love Garbrandt. Cody, former champion, TJ Dillashaw and his steroided self kind of ended his career as a champion, and now he's more of a gatekeeper.
I'd say that's a fair assessment. That's a fair assessment.
Just doesn't win big fights anymore.
No, but he still stands and bangs.
Yeah, and that jaw's been broken a few times. He's he's like Donald Cerrone. You can put him in, and he's in there with top talent, but he just doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, and if you can throw that punch and get to the button, it's gonna knock him out, because the jaw is it's not what it used to be. Which it's not a slight on him in any way, shape, or form. That's how the body works. Like once that's been fucked up, you're fucked up. Like Chuck Liddell was the same way. You couldn't knock him out to save your life. Once he went down, you could touch him with a feather on the chin and he'd be like
yeah. So it was a decent action fight, I believe. I skimmed through it. I was watching Aroldis Chapman below the game for the Pirates at that time. But decent
You're not
action
gonna
fight.
you're not gonna get me to have the best memory about it. Like I watched it just last night.
No,
but
and it was just a submission victory, right?
yeah, I don't know. Was it?
Yeah.
Again, I started watching at 5. How many fights in total were there if you watched the whole card?
16.
Yeah, I
13,
mean
16.
like some of them are just going to go kind of in and out the year. I enjoyed the action in the moment and I loved the fights, but some of it's just in and out when you watch that much,
Yeah, and I mean this is a loaded card. I'm just looking at all the results, and I missed 2 of the fights just because I was doing other stuff. The next match was Bobby Green against Jim Miller in the bloodbath of all bloodbaths.
It was, and Bobby Green impressed me. Like I was impressed. I didn't think much of that as a matchup, but Jim is good God. Jim is on his way out. He's the Iron Man of it. He was wrestling coming in UFC 300. He had been at 100 and 200. That was the whole gimmick of the match.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Bobby Green came out and hit him in the face a lot. And I don't know if you've seen the picture, but the cut under his eye is from his nose all the way out around. And then he's got another one on the same eye on the eyelid up here that just covers the whole eye. And it looks like his, this part of his eye, eyelid is just like a clam, trying to eat his eyeball. It's fucking, dude, it was fucking wild, the pictures that came out. But once he has some facial reconstructive surgery, I'm sure he'll be A-okay. And he's not the only one from the night that's going to need legit, a legit plastic surgeon to fix them up, dude.
No, there was some career shortened. And like you said, it was a knockout to end a fight, not a stoppage.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was wild. The next fight was Jessica Andrade, former champion, versus Marina Rodriguez. Split decision win for Jessica. I watched some of this. I thought it was just a basic fight. All of Jessica's fights are, pretty much the same anymore.
Yeah.
She wants to bang.
I don't think she's going to be competing for a belt.
No.
I think those days are over for her.
No, she's that gatekeeper, that hot prospect gets fed to her, and you see where they're at this moment.
Which was, not really much.
Yeah, it wasn't great. The next fight was Renato Moicano versus my guy Jalen Turner.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen got knocked out.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. And again, early fight card, the crowd was loving it. That's the thing. The crowd was hot during all of this. They were all I was enjoying it. For the early stuff, it's nice to have the crew there too. I'm not gonna one of the themes of the night was everybody giving Joe shit for not having him on the podcast or how badly they wanted to be on Joe's podcast. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to sit here and stroke Joe anymore than he's already been stroked. But it's always nice to have them the whole way through and to get the good commentary and stuff like that. I was disappointing that Goldie didn't come back for a match or something, but then I remembered it's not WWE and they're not bringing in guest announcers and shit. But when you get to those monumental moments, you kind of just wish, for some fan service. Being a WWE fan and all, that's what I was hoping for,
Well, I mean, I don't think you can take John Anik out of the seat. He replaced him and he's fucking great. So
oh my God, dude. His fucking promo that he cut for Chael. Dude, he fucking ripped his jacket at the end, just rah, bad guy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I gotta talk. Awesome. I got some funny. Okay, continue, sir.
Also, I want to bring up this at this point. I know that they are owned by Endeavor, TKO, whatever, but they have very similar packages, video packages to WWE, and my God, they crank them out, and they're always awesome. You have the same narration, and they just bang.
So
nice video package to start.
I was just gonna say the very first, and I was prepared for them to do the same ones over and over again or whatever, but they didn't. They moved in and out of different eras, and they talked about different people over the course of the night, and their video packages were on fucking point. Like every one of them got me a little bit, because it's like, again, I'm an OG of this shit. Like, and I brought it up to my wife because she said she started watching in what probably would have been like 2005. Okay. So like 2004, 2005. And like, that's when I got to, like, I went into the Marine Corps, and when I got stationed, like, we would hang out and get the pay-per-view out in somebody's house. We'd play poker all day, watch the fight at night, and then by the end of the night, we'd be fighting in the yard, and then we'd go to the bar. Like, and that's the extent of any of those stories I'm going to be telling detail-wise. But the point, like I watched careers end and new careers start. Those careers end, new careers, and like we've watched it from the beginning. The same way with WWE, and like in all these other sports, like football and baseball and basketball and stuff, they're so old that we're very used to that turnover in talent. But watching some of those throwback videos and realizing that those are the faces that, if all things being equal, humanity doesn't suffer destructive death at the hands of AI, and we're alive 100 years from now and the sport still exists. Those are the names and faces that are going to be tied with the start of the sport, and that's fucking awesome, because those dudes like Chuck Liddell, like, and they were talking about Cheeto, and like, I have to call him Cheeto. I'm sorry. Anyway. And it's just, dude, the packages were phenomenal. You got me on that, and I got wayward. I apologize, but they were phenomenal, and they hit some really good fucking spots. And well done, done.
And then bringing back the retro graphics at the beginning of the show, it was awesome.
That was cool.
So the next fight I did not see. I like Sadiq Youssef. But he got knocked out by Diego Lopez. I didn't see.
Yeah, I think I was. This was probably a shit break.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I did have to eat dinner and stuff like that. Well, I do have a family mic. I do have a family mic. Jeez.
It's an 8-hour show, so
yeah, I know, for real. You got to do some things in 8 hours, right? You can't just sit there the whole time.
So the next fight was the debut in UFC of Kayla Harrison against Holly Holm, the farmer's daughter, or the preacher's daughter, whatever she is.
I didn't realize that Holly was such a huge underdog coming in. Like I didn't expect that. But by the time they got into the octagon, like I was just like, oh, I don't think this is going to go well for Holly, and it did not. It did not at all.
Yeah, Kayla's a big girl.
Oh my, fast too.
Do you remember when they were kind of pushing Megan Anderson, and she was like huge and just tall and lanky, and she was just a flop. But that was against Cyborg, so I mean that's understandable.
I still Kayla don't know how I feel about Cyborg.
Yeah,
I really don't. That's a conversation for another day, probably. I don't know how I feel about her still to this day.
Or him. But yeah, Holly Holm, you just went in there against the machine, and that's what happens.
Yeah, you have a real problem in that division if she runs through it the way she just ran through Holly Holm, who is a couple-time belt holder, like kind of a perennial challenger, like still considered at the top of the division, kind of, at least a little. Like, suppose like that, you used that word a couple of times, but a gatekeeper, she just got absolutely destroyed. Like it wasn't even entertaining, which is sad because I would have liked to have seen. I mean, Holly is a striker like none other, and it would have only taken one kick and it would have changed the fight. But sadly, she never got a chance to really throw it.
So the wild thing is Holly is ranked number 5 right now in that division.
Okay.
Behind Irene Aldana, Ketlin Vieira, Mayra Buena Silva, Juliana Pena, and the champ is Rocky Pennington. Rocky does not stand a chance against.
None of them do. She should just go straight to the title. She should get the Brock treatment.
She should. Yeah.
Like, so for real, she should get the Brock Lesnar treatment. One fight to prove that you're for real and go fight for the title. Like, boop. It's like, take it. Because, like, seriously, like, at worst, she's going to get caught in a fight that maybe style-wise she could dominate and destroy, but she gets caught, and it's like, oh, now we've set her back 3 years.
Yeah,
instead of just
give it to her right now.
Yep.
There's no other reason.
She's at the top of the mountain of that division immediately.
Like, yeah, and she's 17-1 now. So
yep.
Ain't no point. The next fight was the former champion Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. Typical
I wanted this to be better.
Well, it's your typical Aljo fight. He just kind of is, the Dollar General version of Khabib. He just smothers you, and it's boring.
And it was.
So there's also some heat there. I don't know if you caught this, but they didn't give Aljo the post-fight interview during this fight. And he was like walking around and he was like, woo, woo, woo.
I must have missed that in between the transition of going to like the computer, because I think it was at this point that I switched over to streaming it from ESPN Plus. So I think that's when I did that. But I mean, nobody likes him. Nobody likes him. Like there's zero love for that dude. Period. End of sentence.
He is the 2024 Tyron Woodley.
There you go. Yeah, I mean that's a good comparison.
I think it's a great comparison.
Yeah.
At this point, they start showing all the famous folks in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of people there. I had no idea who the hell they were, but I just saw this on Twitter maybe a half hour ago before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Kyler Murray is dating Valentina Shevchenko?
No. Like they showed her with Kyler, but I didn't think that. I just thought it was, well, put two famous people next to each other, like a UFC and a famous person. Yeah, no way. Hey, good for Kyler Murray, dude. She's a ballet dancer. Fuck yeah.
Well, he also might get some toughness because he's kind of a pussy. So,
well,
but I didn't. Say that.
I wasn't gonna make any comments about the logistics of that relationship, because I don't think. I mean, you'd only have to be a little bit of a football fan, especially an Arizona fan, to know the level of that dude. What he was supposed to be versed is what you're getting.
And then he's dating a woman with a tattoo of a gun on her hip.
who literally like comes very close to murdering other women for a living.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Because she's a killer. Like she is one of those people, and I'm gonna spoiler alert here. Actually, no, it's not much of a spoiler. Both women in the main event for the co-main event, I believe firmly that if you told them that fight was to the death, they wouldn't have even batted an eye and they would have fucking gone at it. I think there were a few fights like that last night that felt like if you said you have to walk out of here on a stretcher at the very least, like, or you don't walk out, that some of them were like, that's fine. Like, just because, and like I said it before the show started, the bonuses last night were probably amazing. I think they said like they were $300,000 or $600,000 for the bonuses that he was given.
I didn't hear that. No.
Yeah. So, I mean, like everybody in there was trying to, but Shevchenko, like, to me, is just like, yeah, she's scary as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
So good on you, Kyler. I hope it's I hope it's, I hope you're as happy as Russell Wilson and Sierra.
Hey, don't talk about my QB.
Oh, okay. Your QB is Justin Fields, brother.
He is, but he's not going to play. So
we'll see.
So the next fight was the main event of the prelim card: Alexander Rakic versus Yuri Prohashka. And what about
fucking war, dude? War. These guys. Oh man. Now I'm just gonna skip to the end. The speech about the fucking samurai shit I could have done without. Like he was really trying to defend himself, and it's just like, dude, it's okay, man. Like,
and it was almost like he was like sad that he's not a samurai.
but I understood what he was saying, right? Like he's just trying to make the point that in spirit, like he believes in the samurai spirit, right? Like because it's not just a you have to be a Japanese warrior in a certain time period, born in a certain village to understand where they were spiritually. And he tries to, adhere to that spiritual side of it. And that's fine. And I mean, I don't understand why people have to give him shit. Like there's just something about the fact that he's Eastern European. He's from the Czech Republic. So he's not like a white American, people. Like it's not like we can stop with the cultural appropriation nonsense. The dude was like embodying the spirit of a fighter warrior concept. Like calm down. But the poor guy just wanted to make people understand. He just wanted to explain himself. Like, guys, it's not a bad thing. Come on. And it was like, dude, like you just got done beating the shit out of a guy, and it was a war. They fucking went toe to toe. And now he's like, come on, guys, like me.
I think that was how they were selling the pre-fight for this.
Mm-hmm. So, 100%. 100%.
You could tell it broke his heart.
It did. And it wasn't the first time, like, or maybe it was the first time up until that point, but who was the Brazilian guy? Can't remember which fight it was when the guy that won was Brazilian, and he was talking about how much he loved the Constitution and how much he loves freedom and how great America is and stuff. And it's just like, if you know anything about global politics right now, a Brazilian guy saying that is like a clear, he's speaking. But then there were other moments where guys legitimately, like I said with Bo Nickel, like there were a lot of guys that felt they had to apologize for themselves last night. And I didn't understand it. Even Zhang Wei Li did. Like she tried to do the whole, like come to China. Not right now. Not right now, honey.
Not right now, but also the interpreter is probably the hottest interpreter I've ever seen.
It's not the guy who stares in their face, like just staring at their lips. Like, no, that shit's creepy. Yeah, she was. She was.
Hopefully, she was.
But on the China thing, real quick, I do have like a personal thing to relate to that. My kids, as you know, go to a Chinese. They've done the Chinese immersion program where like they learn Chinese for half their day and they're taught by Chinese women, and then they have like an English half of their day where they're still taught by Chinese women but in English instead of Mandarin and everything else. They've been doing that since they were in kindergarten, and every year they do like a trip where they take or not every year, it's like every 3 years they take a trip to China and they do the Great Wall and they do all that shit. They tried to do that a couple of weeks ago. It was like during our spring break, it was their planned trip. They had to spend the whole trip in Hong Kong because they couldn't get their visas approved.
Oh.
So they like China wouldn't let them in. And it's like, then when I heard her say that shit, like, come to China, I'm like, Go to Hong Kong and stay there while they don't let you into the country. Sounds like fun.
Go to Taiwan. They have the buildings that are sideways right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's where you want to be.
So the pay-per-view opened. Another great video package. And then the biggest show in 5 years. So let's throw the biggest prospect in 10 years on the show to open the pay-per-view card. Bo Nickel versus Cody Bundridge.
He didn't want to fight. Like I was so disappointed. Like there is a thing about guys that are so high level, especially in one area, that if they start to dominate in that one area, the only goal of the person that they're fighting against at that point is just to not let them win. It's not to try and win yourself. At that point, you know you're not going to win, but you're just defending, trying for them not to win or to not look good doing it. And there was a good 4 minutes of that fight where that's all it felt like. And that's all it felt like in the middle to the end of the first round and then the beginning of the second round, where it was just like you had a fighter in there that realized he was overmatched and just didn't want to lose on a highlight reel. So he just wasn't going to let him do anything. And that's, I mean, I'm not saying I would act any differently. I'm not shitting on the guy, but it was not an exciting fight. And Bo did not get to show off on the stage that he was on. But I hope he can strike. I hope he can strike, because at this point I'm a little worried. I know he's knocked the dude out, but it was like, quick. But he was going for a submission, and it's like, dude, just knock him out. Just punch him. Like, just get it over with. But Bo Nickel is fantastic, and I'll never not love him. And he's going to the top, and it's fantastic.
Right, and they're gonna guide him, and they're gonna pick fights for him.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be showcased, and they're gonna make a lot of money with him. So
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And not just that, but I think they're gonna be able to use him to tap more dudes. And I mean, they're already doing it. You know that DC was at the NCAA finals for the final day. He called all the championship matches for that wrestling tournament. And like they're just like WWE, man. They're putting their hooks into that pipeline to try and promote NCAA wrestlers to moving to that level. But it's a different sport. And the other thing about it is right now the Olympics are coming up, so wrestlers are preparing for that instead of, I'm sure Bo would love to be going to the Olympics, but instead he's fighting in the UFC. I mean, decisions.
Yeah, I can make nothing and be a slave, or I can make a couple $1 million.
Hey, Jordan Burroughs is doing it. Jordan Burroughs is going back this year, and he's gonna fucking whoop ass. Like, Jordan Burroughs is probably gonna win a gold medal this summer.
But will he do it with a broken freaking neck? All right.
Well done, sir. Well done. Okay, on to the next
fight. Charles Du Bronx Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian.
Yeah, that guy. Good fight. It was a good fight. There was blood.
High level guys, man.
This is the one that should have been 5 rounds, right? Like this fight definitely was the first one that we were like, okay, this 3-round thing is not going to work because this should have been a 5-round fight.
And it was a split decision. Armand got the W. It could have gone either way. It could have been a draw. It was probably the closest fight in a long time.
Armand didn't think so.
Well, he wasn't watching the same fight everyone else was.
He was like, I don't know how they gave him any rounds. Like how I'm like, dude,
they could rematch this. No one would bat an eye. People would love it. But he could probably get a title fight now.
I mean, Oliveira caught him right away, and that instantly puts you on the back foot. So to come out on top, he might. I would say they should probably fight again. I don't really know. The title picture is so clear that it's like who's in line all the time kind of thing and when the fights are out. But, sure. Well, why not? Why not?
Arman is ranked 4.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin the Diamond is 3.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Gaethje's 2. Charles is 1. And Islam is the champ. So
yeah. Well,
a number away.
I mean, Gaethje is out.
Yeah, but Dustin just had a big knockout.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on who's going to match up timeline wise. So
Max Holloway probably deserves a title fight.
Yeah, but he could be in 4 different divisions, which is
I know. That's the fucking truth, right? Like, I mean, you think he looks like lightweight is going to work though.
Sometimes when you don't have to start yourself, your body reacts differently, and you have a little bit more power. But Sapura should probably watch out, and that's the next fight, the BMF title. You had Mark Coleman come out here with his daughters, which was and they played "There Goes My Hero," which was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you don't know, his parents' house was on fire. He went in, he saved them. He went back in for the dog, and then ventilation, there was none, so he passed out. Was in a coma for 5 days.
Yeah, and when he woke up, he was crying because he didn't save the fucking dog.
Yeah,
like that shit. Oh my god, dude! He saved his parents, but he couldn't save the dog, and he woke up from a coma, and that's all he was that's all he could think about. Like, that shit's wild. Absolutely awesome, and they gave him a good moment. Like, I like that because he's a true legend of the sport, and for this to be at this point in time and to have that story be relevant, it was a neat moment. It really was.
Pretty daughters too.
We don't need to do that.
I'm here for it. So we had Justin Gaethje versus Max. Just an absolute banger.
He broke his nose in the first round. Like, absolutely shattered his nose. And like there was a shot of him going back to the corner, and he's like pushing it to try and get it back, but like you could just see it had flattened out. Like it was destroyed, and they never got the bleeding stopped ever. But that was fine. He took a shot, and yes, they went to war. They did go to war. But in the second round, when he pokes him in the fucking eye the first time, it's like, okay, well, he does the fingers out thing, whatever, right? But then they show the replay, and he's like a knuckle deep in there, and it's like, oh, and he's already just busted up, and you're looking at this dude going, no, like, don't just let the doctor tap you out. No, of course not. He's going to fight. But the thumb, I have to take a moment to just be like, this is where these guys are just different from other human beings, because so many people at that moment would have just been like, I can't see shit. I just got both of my, because I'm sorry, if you've never been poked in the eye, an eye poke like that, like, your eye is fucked up. Like, he probably has an abrasion somewhere. Light is probably refracting. Like, who knows what kind of damage he has. And then the thumb in the other one, like, just the pressure. And then he's got all that blood in there. The sheer
broken nose.
Dude, the sheer pressure in his sinuses and everything else. Like, I was like, every time he gets touched, it has to feel like a brick just hitting him in the fucking face. And that
he should have just said, I can't see, and nobody would have said.
No, but you're absolutely right. But instead, they gave us a match worthy of the BMF title. Like, they just absolutely fucking went out there, and Gaethje came back, and several points Max was hurt. Like, there were many points where I was like, fuck, he's going to win this fight. And in the end, you kind of got the sense whoever was in charge was going to point to the center of the ring. That they were going to do that. The octagon. Sorry, I hate that they do that. But it was Holloway and caught him on the butt, and Gaethje went face first into the mat. And I mean, dude, there was a lot of celebrating going on, and I was just watching. I was like, just make sure that dude's okay, because he looks like he may have just been put out. And with his nose busted up the way it was, I was like, they hadn't shown the replay of the punch yet, so I didn't know how it landed. But I was a little concerned for Justin Gaethje. I was a little concerned for him. He got up though. He got up.
It's still taking years off of his career.
Oh, it's
his chin is broke now.
Oh yeah,
and the wild thing is that's a totally different fight if he doesn't keep putting his head down, because that's how he kept getting hit with those the spin kicks every time. Like, you got to give credit to Max in his corner for scouting it out like that, because
I mean, they were body kicks. They were body kicks, and Justin put his head right in the way of them. Like, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it at all. It was a good fight, dude.
It could have been blood flowing in his mouth, so he would go down. And,
maybe
a lot of variables,
and there were a couple of times where you thought that the ref could call it, like where you could be like, this fight could have been over, and it was just so clear. It was just so clear that they weren't going to let fights end. They just wanted, but it'll get more clear, in case you were wondering. In case you didn't watch last night, and this is all spoiler review for you, it'll get worse or better depending on your perspective, because I like them to let the fighters fight personally. But
yeah, I mean, there's a point where you have to protect your asset as well, but they made some money last night, so they went for it. And if you're saying that the fight of the night bonuses were that much, that's why it happened. So my goodness, those some hurt people today, I guarantee.
Oh my god, yeah. I woke up talking about that right off the bat today, dude. Like,
that knockout, I haven't seen a knockout like that since Pacquiao with Juan Manuel Marquez.
Yeah.
But it just makes you think, like, all these Jake Paul fights, the knockout is the same way, and it's never as devastating as that was.
No.
Just saying.
No.
Next fight, women's strawweight title fight, 5 rounds. Jan was choked to death at the end of the first round. No stoppage. She was gone. It took her a good 15 seconds to come back to reality.
Okay. So they showed this replay quite a bit, which of course they're going to. And in the end, the way I saw it, from the ref's perspective, was Jan was looking him dead in the eyes and had her teeth gritted and was trying to make it clear that she was okay. And it was like the horn blew. She lost that sensation. Zhang Weili let go, and then she rolled her off. And it was like he must have noticed the split seconds in between the bell ringing and her going out. So he had to have determined in that moment that she was still conscious when the buzzer went, because and it might be really bang bang and everything like that, but at the moment it definitely felt like, again, they just weren't going to let fights end, and she was right there. So, like, he's not wrong to not end it. And when they got her back up in the corner, like, and ready to go again, at that point you're like, okay, well, now we're back in the fight. And then Zhang Weili, like, wore herself down. Like, she let it all out trying to end that fight, and she was gassed, and she started taking some damage. And I'm sitting there thinking, if this ends in a knockout for Jan, like, and she was choked out. Like, what are we like? How does this go? They were in a 5-round fight. It was only a war for a couple of rounds, in my opinion.
I think that they do it again in China. If they have a card in China or something.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
That's not exactly that division. They're one in the champ, so I think you run it back.
Yeah.
You also have Tatiana Suarez in there, who's probably still undefeated. But it was a good fight.
Oh, I liked it.
Very technical.
It got to the point towards the 3rd, 4th, 5th round where it's that same thing where there's the dominant one, and when it comes to grappling, if you're gonna get out grappled, like you're just fucked. Like you're just fucked. Like you either have to land that knockout shot early or you're toast. And when it came to the grappling, she was just toast. Jan was toast.
Yeah. Then we come to our main event. Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. The sacrificial lamb came out to the ring first. Did a bunch of antics. Standing at the door waiting for Pereira. You could just see like he's coming back from injury in a major fight with a major opponent, and he was just trying to psychologically get to Alex, and Alex wasn't having it. He just went and destroyed him.
With all the fights that you had on this card, top to bottom, to end it on this was like it I don't know. It kind of taints it. It kind of taints the whole card because you don't get the main event to be exciting at all. Like it was just, it looked like it was going to be a murder from the very start. Like I said that, I texted that to you. Like this looks like we're about to witness a murder because you had a guy that was like a legit warrior and you had another guy who looked like he rolled off his couch to show up. Yeah. Like
very, very soft in the midsection.
I could not believe what I was seeing. I was so, and he threw some stuff. And then once they had done the feeling out period, you know, it was boom, lights out.
You feel bad for Jamal because he hurried back, but
Jamal
Hill. But Alex is just an assassin. He is the true samurai, if you will. And
if you will.
Fucking
so he fucking calls out this fight card in Brazil that's coming up in 1 month and says that he will fill in and fight for that heavyweight fight. That is amazing, and I hope that they get that figured out. Because
they will.
That is top tier right there. I'm gonna say hi to my cat.
That's the Pantoja card, right? 301.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
In Brazil.
And wow. If he can do that, beef up a little. I mean, he beefed up. I think he added like 22 pounds from the weigh-in, hydrating overnight. So anything could happen.
Well, he's he's in fight shape. He's in fight shape. I'm assuming he lives in Brazil. I mean, I don't know. I assume that he has some residence in Brazil. So you just kind of think, well, that kind of puts itself in an easy position. He's probably going back there anyway after this fight.
He got hit with 12 strikes the whole fight. So
yeah, and none of them were anything even remotely. Yeah, if that. So, I mean, I'd love to fucking see it. I mean, when you got a guy who can win championships in multiple divisions and he wants a short a short notice fight at a division. He weighed in at 205 for that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that's do it. like if there's a way to get ratings for or buys for a pay-per-view that the 301, the 201, the 101, like, I mean, there's going to be that let off because you just blew your wad at this huge card. To add this to that card makes it suddenly so much more attractive as like a, well, I just bought 300. I don't want to buy 301. Well, maybe you do now, because this is worth paying for, to see this guy fight his second fight in 30 some days, at two different weight classes that have a weight class in between them. Like,
and this would be against Aspinall, not John Jones, correct?
Aspinall? Yeah. I mean, I believe so.
I don't think it would be John Jones, not in Brazil.
No.
So
no.
Interim fight.
Yeah.
But great card. UFC does it again. I mean, you're never disappointed.
No. And like I said, the one of the beauties of the whole night was the tie to history that they did so well through their video packages, and just really bringing home those nostalgic feelings of something that happened not that long ago, but it still has an impact.
And GSP in there.
Dude, the Matt Serra knockout of fucking GSP, they replayed that a couple times. That shit made me smile.
It was a great night.
Yeah.
They made a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we see some kind of production differences at 301, kind of start a new era.
We'll see.
Maybe new graphics or something.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. And then what do we have next week? Just the basic fight night. Nothing really too exciting. Matthias Nicolau. So.
Yep, back to the grind already, right? You get that giant show out of the way, and then it's like,
that's 2 weeks. 2 weeks away.
And it's the same thing with WWE, right? It's like, well, you got your big giant show out of the way. All the things are good now, and then it's back to the grind. And I don't know. I like where UFC is right now because you can watch it every week or every 2 weeks if you want, and you're going to see guys that are trying to come up. You're gonna see the fights that make a champion. I like that. I think it's good for the sport. So they're in a good place, man. They're in a really good place.
They are. They're making a ton of money, and the show goes on. So good for them. I guess next we would go to what just finished about an hour and a half ago. Go to the Masters.
Yeah.
Which,
Golf.
$20 million purse today. So Scotty,
well done, Scotty.
What do you make? Probably 6-7 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just to cover the whole weekend, because Masters, I'm not gonna try and break it down, but golf is golf. If you play golf. If you've ever played golf, then you know what it's like to try and golf, and it's fucking hard. It can be relaxing, but I'm actually I'm not going on my annual golf trip that I've gone on the last 3 years is next weekend, and I'm not going this year because it's a drinking game. And when you hang out with people, that's the point. And I'm sober. So
we have a great podcast coming next week.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm totally not going because we need to record a podcast next week. Actually, I'm looking forward to talking about the draft with the coach. Like I'm pumped for that. So that there's no sarcasm in that at all. I'm very happy to be here for that. But
yeah,
golf is hard. Golf is very hard. And the best golfers in the world got together this weekend to play on one of the hardest courses ever. And the tradition of it all, the history, talk about the history that they just did with the UFC and with WWE. Golf has a much deeper history, much longer history. And the Masters is taken very seriously. But it's fun to watch these guys get out there and perform. And it is really fun to watch some of the best at what they do just go out there and not be able to do it perfectly. I think there's just something so fun about watching golf shots and being like, holy shit, that was a terrible shot. And then like the next one can be the most beautiful shot in the world that no one, I could never do, you could never do, only these guys can do. And it was great. It was a good weekend of golf, great tournament. And in the end, Scotty fucking ran away with it, dude.
The thing about golf is these guys make a terrible shot and they go to hit that recovery shot, and sometimes they fail, but it's a shot that I can hit because I'm so used to hitting in those predictions.
There you go. Yeah. You see.
It's kind of amusing to me. I caddied at Oakmont for a year.
Okay.
It's wild there. But the Augusta National, the greens are like putting on concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wild. There's some nuances at Oakmont, but this is the premier course. If you asked 100 people that are avid golf fans, you'd probably get the majority saying, "I want to play at Augusta National."
Yeah. Well, if you want to play the best, like it's the best, craziest, nicest, everything course. I don't know that I would ever want to. I don't know that I would ever want to fucking play that course though. I like I'd have to have a private coach for about 3.5 fucking years before I would step foot on that course to play it, because holy shit.
I'm a bigger fan of the U.S. Open just because it goes to different clubs. It's not the same thing every year, and normally you can win that at like +3.
Yeah.
The Masters, you're always, -8 to.
What was it -11 today for Scotty? Is that what
Scotty was 18. Yeah.
But there were only what, 8 guys that were. Was it 8 guys that were in the red? Like, I mean, it wasn't. It was a long. It was. And I told you I watched so much of the early rounds because they were on ESPN Plus. So while I was working, I could just have them on in the background. So I got to watch Tiger play all weekend because he was one of their, golfers that they followed. And I'm guessing Tiger wishes they wouldn't have done that for him all weekend because it was not good. And about halfway through the round today, he looked like he was in just a tremendous amount of pain, and it was hurting him just to walk. And I think we've seen. I mean, I don't think Tiger's coming back.
No, I mean, he made the cut, and that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think he would make the cut, but he did. And
I mean, Phil was up there +8. I think Vijay Singh was like
Vijay Singh
plus.
Yeah. Vijay Singh was up there, which was great. Like, I got excited when they were showing the replay packages of like what guys down the thing did, and Vijay looks great. Like they said, he's 62 years old, man.
Yeah.
Phil, I hate Phil, dude. I'm not a Phil Mickelson fan. My dad texted me when they showed him. He's like, "Were you a Phil Mickelson guy?" I'm like, "No, never." And he's like, "Good. I didn't like him either." And I was like, "All right, Dad."
I could see Phil. You go to the 19th hole and he's just a fucking asshole because he's left-handed, man. All those people are weird.
He's just like Shooter McGavin in real life, right? Like,
right?
Like setting up the rookies to be out on the field when they turn on the sprinklers.
Him, or I could see him being like Big Ern McCracken in Kingpin, just like a prick.
Oh my God!
Who else is Jose Maria Olazabal? He was out there. He made the cut.
Yeah.
So there's some names. I mean, that's the thing with the Masters. If you win it, you can play it for life or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So. Yeah. You can just keep coming back, and
yeah.
I hope like this is what I hope for Tiger. I hope he'll come back to play it again. I hope he doesn't just hang him up. But I'd like to see him be able to come out and enjoy it. One of the things that kind of ate at me as I watched him today, because he was having such a terrible round. But he was golfing with who turned out to be the low amateur of the tournament. And yeah, and he was having fun. Like he was hitting shots and having a good time. And I can just imagine that the excitement and the pressure to be golfing with Tiger Woods for an amateur. But it just didn't seem at all like Tiger was giving any type of enjoyment. And it was just, I hope that he can come out and enjoy it. I remember watching old rounds of guys that were old when I was young, and like Norman and Chi-Chi and these guys, and they came out and were happy. And Tiger looks fucking miserable. He looks absolutely miserable.
You know what though? I'm gonna make this prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger is gonna play that until his kid gets into the Masters,
mm-hmm.
and then that'll be the final round for Tiger, getting to play with his kid somehow, some way, and then he'll just walk out, dance into the sunset.
Well, his kid's got to get there first.
He'll get there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If LeBron's kid can get there, he can get there.
God damn it! No, I was getting ready to fucking say it, but I got like I breathed in too quick to try and beat you to it, and I started coughing, and you beat me to it.
I am the quick-witted one here.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
I have something. Got some sad news to break here. Just seeing we have another death in wrestling.
Oh no.
Former WWF superstar Tony Jones has passed away at 53. You know Tony Jones?
I don't know if I'm familiar, to be honest. Who's Tony Jones?
Okay, so you've seen the movie Beyond the Mat, right?
Yes.
Okay, Tony Jones is the guy in the tryout match with Michael Modest, the black guy wearing the singlet.
Okay.
Where they're back at the monitor, and Cornette and Jim Ross are like, yeah.
I don't remember it that well. Okay, so he's there. Like he's okay. So
he had a tryout match. He worked with that Roland Alexander guy.
Okay, so it's not exactly somebody that I should be like.
No, that's the headline though. Tony Jones. Okay,
it's a good headline, buddy. You had me on my heels a little bit.
I had you at hello. I know.
Yeah, I was waiting for a mark to start out that sentence or something like that, and I was about to be like,
yeah, no. So, condolences to Tony Jones and
100%, dude. That fucking sucks.
Family and friends.
Yeah.
Next, we are gonna go with a little bit of NHL.
Yes, sir.
Here to close the show. This is the wildest thing I have ever seen. I have to pull it up here. All right, pictures. So everyone in the West is locked in. Positions, they're not locked yet, but the East is freaking amazing. You have 3 teams at 87. For the second wild card, and the Penguins are at 86. And the Islanders are at 90. They can lock into the 3rd slot in the division. But I've never seen so many teams just tied for one playoff spot.
All right, so and who's got games left, and with who?
The Penguins have 2. They played Nashville, and they play the Islanders. So if they win out, they could tie the Islanders. Oh boy, here comes this storm.
Yeah. I was waiting for that, dude. I've been waiting this whole time for the storm to hit. So
yeah, it's getting pretty loud.
Okay. I can't hear it. So
well, that's good. The Flyers have one game left. I can give you their schedules as well, and then the Capitals and Red Wings both have 2 games left. Washington is in right now at 87. They play Boston and Philly. Detroit has 87. They're the first team out. They play home and home with Montreal. Philly plays Washington, and the Penguins play Nashville and the Islanders.
Okay.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. Like there's, and then, okay. I'm looking through it right now because it's like, I'm very, so that's the wild card over there.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, man. So there's really no guarantee how this is going to shake.
No.
And who's going to play where or anything.
No, none of that is locked up. And even like the Rangers are, they have 1 game left. Carolina has 1 game left. They're 1 point apart. So
yeah,
even like the seedings, Florida and Boston are 1 point apart. In the West, they're pretty much locked in except for the bottom teams.
I was going to say, I really hadn't looked at it, but you're right. The Bruins and the Panthers aren't even figured out yet at the top.
Right. Nobody's figured out.
Wow.
It's absolute bananas this year.
Well, and you know what that leads itself to, though, is playoffs.
Ratings.
That was just going to be exciting as shit because any team that, like, now it's just get in, like, because teams will come in hot and you just fucking get there, right? Who's got the hottest goalie in the NHL right now? Who's ready to make that run? Because
the other thing too is who has home ice. You have the Rangers at 112, you have Carolina at 111, you have Dallas at 111, and you have Boston at 109, and Florida at 108, Winnipeg at 107, Vancouver at 107, Winnipeg at 106, Colorado at 105, Edmonton at 102, Toronto at 102. Like, it's absolutely bananas this year. It's never been like this before. Normally, your last one spot goes down to the last game, but
yeah. If
never been like this. Like, this week is huge for hockey. You just had Arizona announce they're moving to Utah next year.
That kind of hurt me, man. One of my first team jerseys that I had made for the team that I captained back in high school, we used the Arizona, the Phoenix Coyote.
The logo.
It was the old. It was the black with the Coyote playing like with the hockey stick on it, and it had the like. It's just such a cool logo. It's sad to see him go. I never understood how they got a hockey team to begin with. Like, never really made sense to have hockey in Phoenix. But
old folks, that's why.
Yeah. And they're going to Salt Lake, so like that's kind of cool. Like, I bet they're gonna have a pretty decent hockey following there. Like
it's a winter. There's nothing else to do in Utah.
It's a winter city, though. You know what I mean? Like, Salt Lake is a winter city, so it'll be good.
Yeah. When Quebec would be the number one choice for me. Bring back the Nordiques.
Yeah, I mean, did they say what they were going to do? Are they sticking with the Coyotes? Is that because? They weren't sold, right? They're just moving the organization, like, so.
No, I think they were sold.
Okay.
He paid $1.2 billion for them.
Okay, so they're going to have a complete shift in everything then. Because I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear about a name or anything else. Like, I didn't hear any of it.
No, just Friday after the game, they were like, "Hey, you guys are going to Utah next year."
Yeah, they told the players, and the players came out and told people, And it was like, that's so weird.
It's bananas. And I'm seeing that there's going to be expansion. The next one is going to Houston and then Atlanta for the third time in 25-26. It makes no sense. It's not a hockey market.
No, they just keep losing their teams.
Yeah. How many more times?
Houston, I don't mind.
What? I don't understand it at all, but whatever.
I mean, Houston's a huge market, and they're doing well. Texas is supporting all of their teams very well right now, right? Like,
except the Rockets, probably.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong sport.
Yeah.
No, I feel like the Rockets have gotten support over the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever. They've been in it. They've been, right? Like they're a relevant team in basketball, aren't they?
No, I don't think so.
No. I'm still thinking about the good old days.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, there you go. Like the good old days of the Houston Rockets.
Actually, no, they are. They're 41-41. So
there you go.
You know more about basketball than I do.
Oh shit! Dang, how about that? I love when we plead ignorance and stuff. It's fucking fun.
The Detroit Pistons were 14-68 this year.
Jesus Christ, that's bad. That's really
Washington
bad.
Was 15-67.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's terrible, dude. That's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I was in favor of a few years ago when the NBA said that they were going to cut some teams. Like they were going to shrink down because it I don't know, it made sense. Their talent pool doesn't seem to be as deep as they want people to believe that it is. But
well, that's probably because they have some 42-year-old that looks like he's 60 in LA that controls the game. I think NBA will be back once he's gone.
Do you really? Yeah. I think you might be right. Like there's part of me that really believes you're right because I believe that there's just something about that turns people away.
Yeah,
because there's such a vibe there. There's such a it's so much deeper than whether or not you like the guy or you think he's Michael Jordan. Like there's just so much more than that because there is more than that. if you're an honest human being, there's more than that, and it does. It takes away from it. It makes you want to turn away.
Yeah. And guess what? They made the playoffs.
Of course they did.
Mm-hmm.
Of course they did. But yeah, again, I think you're right. I think there may be that opportunity for basketball to save itself once they unload it. But it's not happening yet. So Stanley Cup playoffs, dude. Who's gonna make a run? What do you have going down? I want to know what your analysis has going down this playoffs.
I honestly have no clue because, like you said, who is the hot goalie right now? And
that's all you got to ask. In the first round, all you need to know is which teams are coming in with hot goalies or which team gets a hot goalie quick because the first round is all about hot goalies. The goalie gets hot and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
You have Colorado. They're pretty much a prohibitive favorite. They just won a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Winnipeg. Or actually, they were at home yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg beat them 7-0.
Oh wow!
So, they don't have a hot goalie right now. Clearly,
no. Yeah.
Boston uses 2 hot goalies. They're always a prohibitive favorite. They have 2 goalies, so they flip flop. Carolina, they have 2 goalies.
Okay.
The Rangers have 1, but then they have John Quick, who's 13-4 this year.
Okay.
So, it's going to depend how these last couple games play out. You have 7 teams in the East fighting for 2 spots. It's bananas, and everybody in the West is good. And then you have Vegas, who has all their star players coming back because they're $84 million over the cap. And they're the last seed, so they play Dallas in the first game.
That's kind of. Can you explain that a little bit, like what that situation is?
So, if you have an injury, like Vegas, they had Mark Stone. He lacerated his spleen, and Mr. Miyagi came back and saved him. All of a sudden, the playoffs are starting, so he's back practicing in a no contact jersey. They traded for Thomas Hertel at the deadline. He was hurt. He's mysteriously back at practice this week. They just circumvent the cap, and the NHL has allowed it because they're trying to build a market in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and
it's wild to me.
So they get to circumvent the cap because as long as they have them down, if they have them on the IL or whatever it is, they're
LTIR.
Technically, yeah, they're like a roster spot that goes to their lower level. So they're not paying like they
have to change it.
Yeah, I can't imagine the NHL lets it keep after this season. It's one of those things that they're gonna, because people are gonna ask questions. Like it's just It's gonna happen. But Vegas could be interesting because of that. You know, they it might not look good in the first round. They might have to scrap their way through. But once they get on the same page with everybody and they kind of get in the groove of it, they're going to have a team that has some superior talent. You know, that's where they're going to be.
Well, just between those two guys, you have $15 million. I don't know if Alec Martinez is going to come back and play, but there's another $5 million guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's. I think they're like 32 million. Jesus Christ.
Getting some lightning out there, buddy?
We're getting lightning. I hear rain just pelting my house right now.
It's not hail, is it? You're safe?
It could be. I don't know.
All right.
Let me see if I can turn it. I don't know. Can you hear it?
I can hear it now.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. You're getting crushed, man. Well, stay safe.
We live in cardboard homes out here, so you never know what's going to happen.
Dude, that's hail. You might want to go check your vehicles. You got them in the garage?
Mm-mm. No, we have a bunch of shit in the garage, so we don't have our cars. Let me just take a peek here.
Yeah, dude. You're gonna...
I think it's just really windy and just big drops are hitting.
Okay, good. Yeah, it sounds heavy, dude. It sounds like some.
Well, it's been heavy here for a couple of weeks.
I know.
But you know, I like Detroit. If they get in, I feel like they can make a run. They have Patty Kane with the experience. They have
Showtime.
The young guys on that team.
I don't like Detroit. I hate Detroit because I grew up. We were rivals forever. But it's hard to argue when you have Showtime on your roster. If you can make a run, you know, he doesn't have to dominate games. He does not have to dominate games, but over the course of a playoff run, if you need a big moment, that dude can still fucking do it. He can still do it. And they might I might have to like Detroit for the first time in my life.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be very entertaining if they can get in. And if they play like a team that plays a wide open style, like you could see some 8-6 games and it would be awesome.
Where are the playoffs? Like, are they on what channel are they on? What network are they on?
I would imagine that they'd be on ESPN, ABC, TNT.
Because they've been on Hulu a lot for games and stuff and ESPN Plus. So I just wondered with the playoffs we're going to roll that way because
they have all of that.
Yeah, because hockey playoffs are look, a lot of sports talk about how the playoffs are different and everything else, but the Stanley Cup is a tournament that no other sport compares to it, in my opinion. The difference between playoff hockey and regular season hockey is night and day. It is night and day. And when you get to the playoffs, the hitting picks up, the speed picks up, the intensity to everything. You get legitimate overtime games again instead of the, wheel and deal, end it in 5 minutes thing. You get legit full period overtimes. I love everything about playoff hockey, dude.
I was there for 2 cup runs, 08 or 09 and 2010, when they played Detroit in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guys would come in for hockey and they legit have broken legs and they're still playing games in the playoffs. They're on crutches, put the skates on, go out and skate. And then in basketball, like, guys get toenails and they're out for 3 weeks.
Dude, I'll never forget when the Hawks were on their first run and they're playing the Flyers and Duncan Keith takes a slap shot to the fucking mouth and it just knocked out like 7 of his teeth. And the dude, he goes off into the locker room, which he didn't want to do. He comes back out. They do all their thing they can do. And he comes back out and goes right back on the ice. And he's just like, anybody know? At the end of the game, they ask him questions, and his response is, does anybody know a good dentist? Yeah. And it's like hockey playoffs are on another fucking level, period.
It's a different universe, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
and then
I'm pumped. Oh my
you can
God.
have a game that starts at 7:00, and I remember we had, I think it was game 5 or 6. It went until like 2 a.m. It was wild. 6 overtimes.
Dude, those are, and at that point you're just watching guys that have played 2 whole games.
Yeah, they're dead.
Like they're dead. They're dead.
It's so much fun. I look forward to getting home at 1 a.m. and seeing the early games and overtime and just watching it until it's over. I can do that every night.
Hell yeah, dude. There you go, man.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
We were going to go in depth and figure out the bracket, but you can't because
you're not ready yet. Yeah, we're not ready yet. Yeah.
There's too many games. Like even Edmonton, they have 2 games at hand at Colorado and Winnipeg, so they could be up into, if they win 3, they could be the 2 seed. And right now they're the 6.
Holy shit.
It's banana land. So
well,
good for the NHL for doing
for real. I was just going to say, and honestly, the NHL is in such a good place. I just wish they could figure out how to market it because they have such good young talent. They're in a really good place. They just don't. They're just not, and the playoffs are always where their marketing department shine because I think everybody knows it's a different sport. And I'm not saying that the regular season doesn't have any effect on the NHL, but quite like the NBA, I think it probably has like the least amount of an effect. Like it just, what happens in the regular season doesn't necessarily foretell what's going to happen in the playoffs.
And the thing is too is like in the playoffs, you score an overtime goal, and all your hockey cards go from $2 to like $30.
So you're going to be having a whole list of guys that you're hoping go off.
Man, I hope Detroit makes a run.
There you go, dude. I'm with you. I'm for you.
But it's just an awesome time of year. We're really blessed to live in baseball and hockey every night now, and
we are
on the weekend. We're lucky.
The distraction level is high, and
it is.
As much as I choose to understand that that's exactly what it is. I made a joke last night to my boys because I came down and I let them know what was going on with the other part of the universe. And but I was just like, you know what, like I'm just letting you know that this is what's happening, and to let you know so you can think about it and you can do your own thing. And they're smart enough; they have their own analysis of it. But then it was like, okay, I'm going to go back and watch the Gladiators now, because like I want to have a self-awareness of it, like that's what we're doing, and even being here talking about it instead of talking about all of the other potential things in the world right now that we could be talking about. There is just, being honest about it. It's a distraction, and that, but that's okay, because it's still people that have worked very hard, and that a lot of us had dreams to be these guys, to work hard enough to be in these sports, to, we've enjoyed them at our own levels. And it's okay. Like, don't like, I don't want, like, never feel guilty for being able to stand back and enjoy the fruits of other people's labor as entertainment. Just be grateful that you get the opportunity. Because
right. And I haven't seen anything today, thank God, of what's going on in the world. But hopefully we get to see this play out, and we are distracted.
A little bit. Are
you distracted?
I'm a little bit right now. My cat's over here climbing on some shirts. I don't know if you can hear him, but he had his claws in some shirts over here going, man. He's trying to get my attention. See, I'm trying to be like, he's like distracted.
Yeah. So all we can do really is hope and pray that the world doesn't come undone, and we can witness safe. Everything.
Be safe.
And just be safe and vigilant out there, everyone.
Yeah. Keep your eyes open. Make sure you're witnessing what's happening.
Yeah.
Just witness.
And not just reading it on marketplaces and everything else. So
there you go.
Yeah. Next week we will be back with Coach. We're going to discuss this week how we can put on a great show for everyone, as we always do.
As we always do.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching us. Just absolute chuckleheads, discuss everything that we discuss.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, no way, dude. I've been looking forward to this. Like last night, man, I wanted to be like, we're gonna stay on schedule, but I couldn't take my eyes off of UFC 300. Couldn't do it.
No, it was a great call to do it today.
Yeah. I mean, just couldn't do it. Again, these are people having great moments in their lives, witnessing their experience, like their existence, and what they're putting into the world is worth it, in my opinion. So we're going to stick on it. We're going to let you guys know what's going on if you don't know in the world of sports, because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. We're here to be the distraction as well.
I'm excited to talk about the draft, Mike.
Yeah.
This might be the coolest draft in Chicago Bears history. Like this.
2 top 10s, man. It's wild. We're going to figure out a great way to get the message across of the draft. And of course, we have Coach who's going to give us some expert analysis from his scouting days and coaching days. So it's going to be great.
I agree.
Sack, don't forget to tune into the Sack streams.
Check me out.
Monumental stuff that's going to be going on.
Sackshop.io.
Sackshop.io, people.
There you go.
And we'll see you guys next week. Top guys out.